Lila sat in the plane, staring through the oval window at the clouds. At 23, her life was a nightmare. Beside her, her mother slumped, weak and tired. Lila sighed, already anticipating the difficult days ahead. Heading to Korea to start a new life with her alcoholic mother. Their small rented house was cramped and dimly lit. Her mother collapsed into the sofa, taking a sip from a half-empty bottle. "Mom, please, not again," Lila murmured. Lila had taken on responsibilities far beyond her age. Since her parents' divorce, her mother had sunk deeper into alcohol and addiction, leaving Lila to navigate life alone. Night after night, Lila cried herself to sleep. Sometimes she rushed her mother to the hospital in the middle of the night. Every day was a struggle, juggling rent, medication bills. The cafe where Lila worked smelled of coffee, baked pastries, and soup. Lila moved swiftly between tables, balancing trays laden with drinks and food. She smiled at customers, even when her heart ached. At a corner table near the window sat a man who seemed out of place. His posture was perfect. He didn't look like someone who belonged in a small, busy cafe. Unknowingly to Lila, he had been watching her every move. And then, as if the universe had decided to humiliate her, a cup slipped. The hot coffee splashed across his white shirt. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," Lila exclaimed. Her voice trembled, eyes wide with panic. Before she could continue, a loud, angry voice rang out. "You clumsy girl! How could you be so careless?" Dropping to her knees to mop up the spill. Her boss raised her hand to slap Lila. Lila flinched, tears threatening to fall. But then, a firm, steady hand pressed against her boss's wrist, stopping her. Lila looked up and met the eyes of the man she had spilled coffee on. Her boss's mouth opened, but no words came. Lila froze, feeling a strange mix of shame and relief. The man, Jae-hyun, moved to a corner of the cafe away from the customers. He picked up his phone and made a quick call. Soon after, a man arrived with a neatly packed white shirt. Jae-hyun nodded silently and went to the restroom to change. As he stepped out, leaving the cafe, she noticed he had forgotten his wristwatch. Without thinking, she called out, "Sir, you forgot your watch." He turned to her, a cold, unreadable expression. "You can keep it," he said, and then he walked away. Lila felt a pang of sadness mixed with confusion. She wandered toward the restroom, staring at the mirror with the wristwatch in her hand, as she noticed the crumpled white shirt she had ruined. She picked up the shirt and took it home. Lila washed and ironed the shirt, the wristwatch she had hidden safely in her drawer. With the shirt, Lila curled up beside her mother, exhausted, yet her mind replayed the encounter over and over. Days passed, and Lila continued her routine, working tirelessly at the cafe, smiling through the exhaustion and heartache, her eyes unconsciously scanning the corners of the cafe, hoping for another glimpse of him. But he never appeared. One evening, as the sky opened and rain poured in, Lila hurried down the streets after a long day at the cafe. From the darkness, they emerged, menacing figures with harsh eyes and cruel smiles. They surrounded her, snatched her bag, and shoved her harshly into the wet pavement as she pleaded in tears. And then he appeared, Jae-hyun, stepping out of the shadows like a guardian. His eyes, sharp and unwavering. The fight was brutal and swift. Lila watched, mesmerized and terrified, as he took down the men with a ruthless precision that left them fleeing into the night. When it was over, he returned her bag, wrapped his leather jacket around her trembling shoulders. Silence filled the car as he drove her home, the rain drumming softly against the windows. Not a word passed between them. When the car stopped, Lila turned to thank him, but he just drove off. She stood there speechless, wondering. She stepped inside. "Nice jacket. Where did you get it?" Her mother slurred from the couch, a beer in her hand. "Oh, it's not mine," Lila replied. As Lila walked into the house, she saw it, the fridge stocked with food. "Mom, where did all this come from?" she asked, her voice tight. Her mother smirked lazily, lifting the empty beer bottle. "I sold the wristwatch," she said. Lila's blood ran cold. "What wristwatch?" The one you hid, her mother said casually. Leela rushed to her room, flinging open the drawer. The wristwatch was gone. Mom, how could you? That's not yours. Why would you take it? Leela shouted in fury. Her mother waved dismissively. Leela, it's just a watch. I sold it, went grocery shopping, and paid the rent. You should be thanking me. Leela stormed into her room, slammed the door in anger, the taste of anger and frustration bitter on her tongue. The following day being Sunday, as Leela carefully peeked into the pocket of the leather jacket, a card, neatly tucked inside, bore a name in precise lettering, Jaehyun. Below it, an address. An idea bloomed. I have to return these. That's the only way I can show my appreciation. That night, Leela neatly packed the white shirt and jacket, set out. The journey was long, the streets winding and unfamiliar, and then she gasped. Before her stood a house that seemed to rise out of the clouds itself, a grand mansion. Every detail screamed wealth. He really is rich, she murmured to herself. The gate was open. She stepped onto the pathway, eyes darting. The door loomed ahead, tall and imposing. Gathering courage, she knocked. It opened and she froze. A tall, pretty lady with flawless blonde hair and sharp, calculating eyes stared down at her. Who are you? The woman asked, voice with a hint of contempt. My name is Leela, she replied. Before Leela could say more, the lady's voice cut through sharply. I didn't ask for your name, peasant. What have you come here to do? Beg for money? Leela's breath caught. No, ma'am, I'm actually looking for Mr. Jaehyun. Looking at the card again. Does he live here? The lady's icy blue eyes narrowed. Yes, and I and his wife. His wife. Leela whispered silently. You haven't told me what you're doing in my house, the blonde continued, her tone sharp. I'm here to return these, she said softly. Listen, the blonde lady snapped. You can't just walk in here and start acting up. Before Leela could respond, the lady shoved the box from her hands. The neatly folded shirt and jacket fell to the floor. Leela quickly knelt down and gathered them, her face burning with humiliation. Without another word, the blonde lady turned and walked inside, slamming the door shut behind her.
Hello Ronnie's Inc. family. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to support the channel. Red Heart.
Leela then went home sadly. The next day only made things worse. At the cafe, without a good reason, her boss fired her. Lena, you're fired, she said flatly. Leela's heart dropped. But I didn't do anything wrong. Please, I need this job. I said leave. And just like that, everything collapsed. With nowhere else to turn, Leela called the only friend she had in Korea, Miho. He came immediately. It's going to be okay, he said gently, pulling her into a comforting embrace. Later, as they sat together, he showed her something on the news. A news headline. The Korean wealthy family seeks a maid at their mansion. Leela shook her head. No, I can't. But Miho insisted. This might be your chance. You need this. After a long silence, she finally nodded. As they both walked home, Miho successfully made Leela happy again. Leela then went home to her drunk, sick mother. Weeks later, Leela stood at a crowded train station, her small bag slung over her shoulder. Beside her, her mother gave a hug, wishing her well. It was a long journey to the Hansung mansion. When Leela finally arrived inside, she met other women who had also come for the job. But somehow, she was chosen. Leela was very excited. Hope flickered in her chest. Days passed and she resumed working as a maid. She worked diligently, cleaning rooms, polishing floors, learning routines. The Hansung family were not around. Just whispers among the maids concerning the owners of the mansion. Then, everything changed. One afternoon, as Leela cleaned one of the grand bedrooms, she turned around and froze, standing before her. Jaehyun. Her heart pounded violently against her chest. And in that moment, Leela realized.
Want to know what happened after that? Then subscribe for part 2.